Please be advised that the views and opinions of the host and guests do not reflect those of the station, the management, and its network.
Magandang umaga po sa ating mga tagapanood at taga-subaybay po ng opinion ngayon. Ito po ay another edition ng ating opinion ngayon sa araw na ito. Ngayon po ay of course Friday and sana po ay nasa mabuting kalagayan ng ating mga tagapanood at mga taga-subaybay. Sa first segment po ng ating opinion ngayon ay mag-focus po muna tayo sa isang interview o isang panayam sa ating isa sa mga awardees or laureates ng award for promoting Philippine-China understanding, our very own host dito rin sa opinion ngayon, si Ado Paglinawan. So, let me introduce him before ayan, si Ado. I will introduce him, I think, para mas makita at malaman ng ating mga kababayan kung bakit po siya ay isa sa mga naging awardees ng ating APPCU. Ang APPCU po ay first ever sa Asia, I think, and even in the Philippines. It's an international award and it's first ever also in the Philippines. Sina Ado po ay unang batch ng mga awardees. It's an annual thing, so by next year we'll have another set of awardees. So to introduce our special segment guest for today, Mr. Adolfo Paglinawan is one of the awardees under the major categories of APPCU. He is popularly known in the journalism circle, and he is also a public intellectual, business professional, and devoted family man with extensive experience in diverse academic and professional fields. A Bedan by training, Ado completed his primary, secondary, and tertiary education in San Beda College in Manila. So very Bedan talaga siya. Very loyal siya sa San Beda. He holds an undergraduate degree in liberal arts, major in English and philosophy, and is currently completing his Master's of Arts in Journalism and International Diplomacy at the Lyceum of University of the Philippines. Between these academic pursuits, Ado has obtained certification in various fields of information technology at the USDA Graduate School, International Public Relations at the George Washington University, and Islamology at the Georgetown University. His active engagement in journalism and social media activism undeniably serve as training grounds in his writing and discursive prowess. Varying from a partisan approach to a more rationalized discourse of pressing issues confronting the Philippine society, he offers alternative perspective that enables opportunities for peaceful diplomatic dialogues. Ado served as press attaché and spokesman of the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C. from 1986 to 1993 and was recalled to serve in the peace negotiating panel with the Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF, and the Cordillera People's Liberation Army in 1987. Of his innumerable contribution and services to the Philippine society, it is his participation in the South China Sea debate that is mostly noteworthy of the award for the promotion of the Philippine-China Understanding, or APPCU, which likewise earned him the designation of an ambassador of goodwill. His participation in the debate was inspired by the scandals revolving frustrated oligarchic capture of oil and gas opportunities at the Red Bank, or Recto Reef, in 2011. The incompetent mishandling of Philippine foreign affairs resulting in the Scarborough Shoal standoff of 2012, and the subsequent filing of a case with the Permanent Court of Arbitration against China. So he's very known for this issue. This is debate about the PCA ruling, South China Sea, and all that. So he also wrote two books, noteworthy books that I think our kababayans and our kabansa should get a copy of. The first one is A Problem for Every Solution. It describes as it's like a situationer of the territorial dispute in the South China Sea. And the other one, which is the latest one, is the book entitled No Vaccine for a Virus Called Racism. We will show you the book later. And a survey of COVID-19 implication from an international perspective. So today, Ka-Ado serves as an inspiration to the Filipinos, not only in his diverse and well-rounded interests, but more so in his pursuit of a factual and rational views of matters concerning the Filipinos and the Philippine society at large. So yan po ang maikling biography ni Ka-Ado, no? So we will ask him and let him greet our audience first. Hi Ka-Ado, good morning po. Good afternoon and good evening sa lahat ng tao sa ibang mundo.
Good morning to you all. Good day.
Yes. Ka-Ado, paki-flash po natin yung dalawang book.
Here is a problem for every solution. And ito po yung no vaccine for a virus called racism.
Okay. Before anything else, how do you feel that you are you're one of the 10 APPCU awardees, and this is first ever in the Philippines and even in Asia. I think this is an international award since there are two countries involved, no? The Philippines and China giving the award actually.
Well, it's a mixed bag actually. I've always been a man in the background. I've served as always somebody handling somebody else. But this time, I think, out of age, basically, I really have to come up and come out and be something else. And at 73, I think I'm just succeeding in reinventing myself. So that's one. The other one is it's really a sort of fear, because I wouldn't know what happens next. So, will it be another set of reinventing myself, or writing another book? So this puts quite a heavy load of challenge professionally. Mm-hmm. So, and I intend to, and if I may add some clarification, mm-hmm. I'm really now just in the process of enrollment for masters. And my chosen institution is the Lyceum of the Philippines, mm-hmm. because I have a good old friend there who will help me with Bobby Laurel. So that's it.
So it seems like education is a continuous process for you. It doesn't stop. It has to. It's a continuous. For someone like you.
It's a never-stopping thing. Mm-hmm. I've been. I think every 7 years there's something that happens to my life, mm-hmm. that makes me even dig more, mm-hmm. research more, divert less. Perhaps there was a time from a diplomat and a consultant on international affairs, I suddenly became a missionary for Couples for Christ. That's what I mean. You just have to keep on listening, mm-hmm. to where a hidden voice is telling you to do, and once you're in it, you've got to do your best for everybody else.
Yeah. Talking about Philippine-China relation, it seems that this is one of your passion. It's not even a passion only, no? It's also an advocacy.
Yes.
For the two countries to have good relation.
Yes.
I want to know saan nanggaling ito at kailan ito nagsimula, and why the advocacy, why the passion?
Well, as a former diplomat, my tenure ended in 1993, and I was always wondering why is it that and I was in Washington, D.C., and I was wondering, why is it that there's only one country that seems to be always sticking out, mm-hmm. when it comes to, it's a whole wide world. Doing international relations consultancy after my work with the embassy, I found out that there were some people in Washington, mm-hmm. who were in fact going to China, mm-hmm. and they were starting to set up some things. Mm-hmm. And some names could be familiar, like Lilia Calderon, and on the positive, and Loida Nicolas Lewis.
On the negative.
On the negative. So these people were trying to go to China, encouraging Filipino Americans to take a look at China. So that kind of, I said, well, China, oh my goodness, this country has been sleeping for so long. and I'm on the other side of the Great Wall, you know. So I started trying to do some surfing, and the first that I came about was Shanghai. Shanghai, and his 7 voyages of treasure ships from China all the way to Africa. There were even some who jumped ship in Mogadishu. That's why there are some Africans that are black, but they're chinky eyes. I said, my goodness, this guy is a great achiever. Then there was a picture of a treasure ship, and the treasure ship was this long, and when they compared it to the ships that Magellan brought to the Philippines, the ship of Magellan was just this short. I said, how could the Chinese have in 1400s build all this? And so I kept on looking, and I kept on looking. I barged into names like Sultan Paduka Pahala at that point, which I would learn later was better known as Batara. And so I just kept on reading and reading, and I got that stuck at the back of my head. Now, the International Relations Consultancy brought me to be hired by people like Bobby De Ocampo, Secretary of Finance, like Dick Gordon with the SBMA, and later as Secretary of Tourism. But I was also hired by Secretary Luisito Lorenzo. And this one brought me to meet Yuan Longpin in 2003. And when I met Yuan Longpin, you know, I kind of got younger by 40 years because it kind of woke up all the energy and creativity that I had. Fantastic. We brought him here, and I was doing the PR backboarding for Cito Lorenzo. He was Secretary of Agriculture. We launched the hybrid rice. I met celebrities like Henry Lim Bonleong in 2003. And now we're best friends, and now he's president of some big chamber.
Oh, FFCDI, yeah, I think.
But it kind of woke in me that this man is so great. And the connection later brought me to connect with Norman Borlaug. He was still alive because Cito and I went to Sacramento, California to attend the conference in agriculture, which was Gene, not Green. So it's a jump from the Green Revolution to the Gene Revolution in agriculture and countryside development. And so I was comparing Norman Borlaug, Yuan Longpin, but now Yuan Longpin is the Gene guy. And so
the father of
I
hybrid
kind of carry
rice.
that. Very constructive, forming very creative and very positive impression about Chinese, the new modern Chinese, how they were engaged in self-development.
Have you been to China?
Yes.
How many times?
Yes, I've been to China in 2015, finally, and that led me to write this first book, which was a situationer, as you said, on the South China Seas. I will read to you
Please.
The first sentence of chapter 1. And if people will just listen to this first sentence, then all about the South China Sea conflicts will disappear. And I said, we have a common claim to the islands, and China has a conflicting position. In international law, this is called a territorial dispute. If you accept that sentence, all this animosity with China will disappear because of the presence of a territorial dispute, and therefore the demand for each party to behave accordingly. So it will not be confrontational.
One last thing, one more thing. Can you also give us an idea of what the book No Vaccine for a Virus Resistant is all about, just for our audience as well to...
Coincidentally, Kabentong and I went back to China.
When?
4 years after.
Okay.
In September 2019.
19, yes.
And when we came back here, all this buzz about, silent buzz, because Binja is first to know about things, about SARS-CoV-2 or some kind of coronavirus. And so I started reading, slowly researching. But in March, we had the lockdown
Yes, yes. March 15, to be exact.
of 2020.
2020, yes.
And there was nothing else to do. So I started deeper research. I was marooned in my office, residential office, and there was nothing else to do. And so I started it, and in September 20, I came out with this. And I was particularly motivated by an adverse reaction to how President Trump, on a runoff to the November 2020 presidential elections in the U.S., was politicizing the issue. And I said, this is wrong. This is very wrong. This is the COVID-19 is a science thing. It's not a political thing. And so I started writing the book. And I said, what approach will I use in this? I have very little scientific knowledge about viruses and all that. So I said, I'll do it the best way I could. And as a journalist. What I did, I collated the series of events as far forward and as far backward as I could do it. The next thing I did was make a content analysis of the news articles that I gathered. The third thing I did was synthesize it in some sort of a chronological flow. And I found out that prior to December 2019, as far back as June 30, the first reported outbreak of a respiratory disease of this kind was not in China. Impossible.
Was not in China.
Because they will confirm it December 31st in China.
Yes.
And I was saying June 30. Where was it?
Where?
In Springfield, Virginia, in a retirement village community for seniors called Green Spring Village. And you know what? Why I said, my goodness, I really have to come up with something here. You know why, Anna?
Yes, po.
The residents, when I go to the States, the place, the home I live, is less than a kilometer from the
So very
from
near.
the smoking gun, from where the smoking gun occurred. And 12 days thereafter, 3 people have died, and about 54 have been hospitalized. The Fairfax County government, local government, got involved in it. And 12 days thereafter, on July 12, the Center for Disease Control sent a letter of concern to 4th District. 3 days thereafter, the Center for Disease Control followed up with a cease and desist order. And in August, 1 month thereafter, they closed 4th District. That was in August 2019. Now, what happened after that between December 31, the report in China, and the closure in August of 4th District? You know what happened? 300 U.S. servicemen joined the World Military Games in Wuhan, China. That's why my quiet or my implied conclusion in this book is not only did it start in the U.S., it was also not transferred from animal like a bat or a pangolin to human, but it was a case of a human to human transfer through 300 American servicemen who went to Wuhan, China
For the War Games.
for sports. And where they figured very, very poorly because most of them were inflicted and down with a certain kind of flu.
Yes. So mga kabansa, ito yung book na ito, no? This is actually the one that Kaado is describing, no? The content of this. So kung makikita nyo, you can actually get a copy. Just let, tune into GTNR, Global News Radio. Ang contact nandun po. So before we close the interview with you po, Kaado, two things that I want to ask, before the closing is, first, why do you think, given the things that you have done and the books that you have written, these are very important issues, COVID-19, the origin actually, and the other one is about South China Sea. My question is, as an awardee, why do you think it's important that, we promote friendly bilateral relation with China? And another thing as well is your closing message to our audience.
Okay. My two books basically shows you how China, and the first book, how China is trying to reach out to the rest of the world to share its blessings. On the second book, politicizing the virus as a China virus is, I think, a weapon of mass destruction, spelled D-I-S-T-R-A-C-T-I-O-N. Not destruction, but destruction. Okay? Yeah.
Yes, I got it.
And I feel that this is a tremendous injustice to humanity. The role that China seem to want the world to understand is they are for a harmonious society. They are pronouncing and extending this to the rest of the world economically. They have no intention. China had never been a hegemon.
Yes.
They have no intention of confronting any nation. They just want to share. The Chinese are people who are like that. Therefore, win-win. So I believe that this is the message that I'd like to leave in this interview. That if we just look objectively and try to find out the facts of what Chinese people are doing, sharing with us that only bridges, money, development projects like trains, but Sinovac and Sinopharm at our greatest hour of need, then we will understand that this is a people-to-people connection. This is not a gunboat diplomacy. This is not bullying. This is presenting the best of what is humanity with Chinese characteristics.
With that, thank you so much, Kaado, and congratulations. I'll see you on August 6th, and congratulations, you deserve to being part of the first batch of awardees po ng awards for promoting Philippine-China understanding. Ayan po ang ating first segment for this edition of Opinion ngayon. I'll see you, and we will be back for our second segment po. Maraming salamat. At again, good morning to and good evening and good afternoon sa lahat ng nanonood sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. We will be back for our second segment. Thank you.